Hi, welcome to the Deep 5h.1t playthrough. I'm Thomas.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Cameron.
All right, so we're going to break into this this playthrough so that you have an understanding of what Deep 5h.1t is about. But normally the game is played in 6 turns, but we're only going to play 2 turns for the sake of this video, so that way, because it takes about 60 to 90 minutes to play a full game out with about 3 or 4 players, and so we don't want to go through the whole game, but in 2 turns you'll have an understanding of how the game works, because it's fairly simple in its mechanics. So we'll start with talking a bit about the components on the board, and we'll go into a little bit of detail about each component, and then we'll actually go into a couple turns, and as we go through, hopefully be patient, because we're going to not explain everything as we're discussing the components, but as we're playing, things should hopefully make sense. So we're going to start with character sheets, and we'll have you can talk a bit about the character sheet breakdown.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The character sheets are very, very important to the game. This is where a lot of the game actually takes place. You'll notice at the top right of the character sheet, you've got slots for different tokens, and those tokens are all very important to the game. We'll get to those a bit later. Really the most important thing on your character sheets is your career paths. Your career paths are at the bottom of the sheet there. They give you various bonuses throughout the game, and they're used for scoring later on. We can get into the details on that a little bit later, but the most important thing to note right now is that that's where they are, so you have an idea of what we're talking about when we refer to them later on.
Perfect. Now, the one thing to note about the character sheets is it doesn't really matter what character you play in this game, because all the characters are pretty much, the statistics and stuff are exactly the same. The only difference is the color of character that you're playing, and the artwork and the name. It's for thematic purposes, but we're all vying for the same types of career and trying to get the same types of points. So how do we vie for that though? Like what else we got here? Oh, we got tokens. All right, want to talk a bit about the tokens?
Sure, absolutely.
What the function is?
We've got 6 resources in the game. We've got apples, data crystals, verdium steel, warp crystals, booze, and antimatter. They're gathered at various points around the ship, and they're spent on commendations, either on your character sheet or on the ship itself.
There you go. So we have our components, we've got our character sheets, we've got these little dealies on the character sheets. What are these? For the sake of playtesting, we're using these glass beads that we've recycled from our other Kickstarter prototype. And these glass beads and these little tokens here will be represented by something a lot more functional in the final version of the game. But for the sake of this playtest, the glass beads are
Action tokens. Now, the action tokens are placed in various areas of the ship to activate the action spaces, which grant different benefits later in the game.
And the commendation tokens, which are these little wooden chips with the stickers on them, which match the same color of our glass action tokens, are used to take the ownership of the ship, which is a rule we'll explain as we're playing, and to build your levels of commendations, as was explained earlier, or your levels of career by using the chits to score and gain points. All right, so let's set up here. So now we've got these problems and solution cards, and the problem and solution cards is a bit of a fun mechanic which doesn't really happen very often in worker placement or resource management style games, and this phase of the game interrupts the placing of actions and the collecting of resources to allow for a little bit of variety and fun and socialism, and we'll get to that phase when it happens and explain it as we get through the game. The rest of the tokens and stuff we'll explain as we go. So we start with 4 actions. Want to get into it? We'll just
absolutely.
Break in. Okay, so you're going to have rank chits. These little rank chits, 1, 2, 3, will determine the action order of how people are going to play in the game. And you can figure out your own method of randomly distributing them. So we'll just do it like this. In this case, I'll just drop them and see what happens.
Number
All
2.
right, so I am rank 1.
And I am rank 3.
I swear to God, there was no sleight of hand there. So,
just editing magic.
Yes, yes, special effects 101. Okay, so because I'm rank 1, we're going to start the game. And the first phase in this game is your placing of your actions on the ship. Now, we're going to go in order, 1, 2, and 3 on our ranks, and place 1 action at a time. I have 4 in my supply. These are for actions that I can gain later, but I've got these 4 actions here, and I'm going to start placing about 1 at a time. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at my ship. The ship has piles of things I can do. I can gain resources, I can gain special tokens to help me in future turns, I can double my action effort by getting more action tokens from my supply. There's a bunch of stuff. We're not going to go into detail on what everything can do. there's so many things that you're just going to have to get the game and check it out. No, but there's lots of things you can do, and we'll try and describe some of them as we go. Yeah. And now, what you're noticing here is there's another little board. This little board is the shuttle. It's part of the main board, but the only way you can get there is by going into the transporter room and using the transporter pad. So I'm going to do that for the simple sake of just showing you how it works. So I'm going to go into the transporter pad. Now, by placing my action here, I don't get anything for that, other than I'm the only one that gets access to the transporter. And the transporter is full of different things I can get, tokens and stuff, and these guys can't get access to the ship. Mm-hmm. So, now, since you're second, you can play second and tell us what you're doing.
So I am going to get more actions for my future turn by placing 2 actions here now to gain 1 action on my next turn.
What that means ultimately is the 2 actions, it costs 2 of his action economy to gain a future action. It just means it's more expensive, but the benefit is ultimately better in the end. Yeah. Now, you're rank 3, so what are you going to do?
Well, you guys left me in a good position because I can actually kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You'll notice if you look at this room that it's got a capacity of it, a capacity of 2. With 1 action already in there, and my second action going in on steal a resource, the capacity of that room is reached, and no more action tokens can be placed in that room. Mm-hmm. The second bird I'm killing with that stone is that I get to steal a resource from one of these guys after they've claimed it.
Which sucks, because because he's rank 3 means after we're done collecting all our resources, he's going to get full variety in what he wants. Now,
unless we just don't collect resources.
I think it's strategies coming into play. Now, we might want to make note that he did put 2 of his action tokens in this room, which has a capacity of 2. It doesn't actually count if it's 2 actions on 1 space. It's per space that's getting filled up.
Yeah, it's the number of actual actions being done, not the number of tokens. In
so now it comes back to me, and I've got my 3 actions to place out again. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to spend mine on a community actions for next turn. So the community actions are, I invest 1 here now, and next turn I get to take 2 community actions, and they add to my pile only for that turn. So it's a great way to get lots of extra stuff for next turn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
absolutely.
All right, so you get to place now.
I'm going to grab this +2 bid token.
So that's for a later phase.
I'm doing lots of just investing and hoping it pays off.
Before we actually spend our resources in the spend resource phase, there's a bidding phase where we draw a piece of equipment, and we all can bid our little resources and stuff to try and get the piece of equipment, which is like a special perk that helps you in the game. We'll get to that after, but he gets a big advantage this turn.
Yeah, so far no one's collecting resources.
No, so far there's going to be no bidding other than whatever you want. So your place now.
Normally I could have expected resources to be collected, but you guys apparently wanted to spite me.
Yes.
It's not spite, it's strategy.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and take a warp crystal.
All right, so that's a warp crystal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place a claim 1 resource as it's spent. So what that means is that as he spends the resources that he stole, I get to claim 1. Now, I don't actually take 1 away from him. It just means that as he's putting it in the bank, I'm just like, nah, I'll go into my bank. Mm-hmm. I'm his banker. So I'm done there, and so you're next on the action.
What else can I do without gathering resources? I mean, what else can I do without any ulterior motive in particular?
I can't believe that we're not going to get any resources this turn.
Which means no one's going to be spending any resources.
You know what you could do? Oh. No. Go ahead. Just place it.
All right. I'm going to place in the capacity increase.
Oh, nice. Mm-hmm. All right, you're up.
I'm up. All right, I'm going to take a warp crystal so that I can at least spend something this turn.
Nice. So I am going to then, this goes to me, I am going to take less block tokens for next turn.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be fun. All right, and you don't have anything more to spend, but you have 1 action left, so go ahead.
And neither of you has taken any resources.
I know, it sucks.
Wow, I can't believe it worked out that way.
We heard there was a thief aboard.
Yeah.
Can't imagine who it is.
I locked it up. No more resources to steal. Now, this is kind of a disadvantage at the same time because we're not collecting resources, and resources are typically used to buy commendations, to take ownership of the ship, and or build up your ranking.
So, since you guys didn't leave me any of the options I wanted, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place an action token on the shift rank.
Shift rank.
Because
you don't like how this ship is run?
No, being 3rd place isn't working out for me.
Okay, so now we've placed all of our actions. All of our action sections are spent. And now we move into the next phase of the game. And the next phase of the game is the problem solution phase.
Yeah, so what that means is our player who is less will present us, the crew, with a problem that is plaguing the ship, and we need to select one of our solutions to try and fix it. And then because it's only a 3-player game, we'll also be drawing a random solution from the top of the deck, and Les here, our computer, will be deciding which solution best suits the problem.
The reason why I'm less is because the person who gets first rank is less at the beginning. It's kind of to offset the fact that I get to place first. I also don't get the chance to win this round. I get the cards still for the solution phases, but I don't actually get to participate in this particular round because there's 2 every turn, and less rotates around clockwise to player so that everybody has a chance to win. So we'll see how this goes. So the problem on the ship is everything is on fire. That's the problem. Everything is on fire. Right there. So these guys are going to pick a solution, and they're going to put it in a pile, and we're going to take one random one off the top.
Random one?
Now, in a 4-player game, when there's a third person handing in the card, you don't draw one from here. But if I pick the card that was on the deck, then neither of these people get the point. So I'm going to read this again. So everything is on fire, and reroute all power. Assume the fetal position, and file a report. So everything is on fire, so I'm going to assume the fetal position.
That's mine.
All right, so he wins the card. So now that we've done the problem solution phase, first problem solution phase, we're going to go into our resource collection phase. So according to rank, we're going to continue going. So for me right now, I'm going to take the community actions tokens for next turn. May as well stay here.
Yep.
I'm going to take the thing off the shuttle bay, or the transporter bay, which doesn't give me anything because I didn't actually take advantage of the ship this turn. And then I get to these less block tokens. Okay, so these less block tokens, I'm going to place these on one of them on each circle of a choice of mine, and it will stop people from doing things to me next turn. So I'm going to place one on this steal the resource one, so people can't do that to me next turn. He still gets to do it this turn, but for next turn, he doesn't get to do it. And I'm also going to place this on... you know what? I'm going to place it on community actions.
Interesting.
No. Yeah. No. Yeah, no. No, I'm going to place it on community actions. So what that means is, that people cannot place bids on the community actions or on the steel resource. So less the computer has been angry. It's like, nope, I've cut off access to this part of the ship, and there you go. And then I'm going to collect. That's that. All that's left to collect is my claim 1 resource as it's spent, but since no one has spent a resource yet, I can leave it on there until someone spends a resource. And if no one spends a resource, which I have a feeling he's going to do a little revenge, if no one spends a resource, then I don't get to claim the resource, and it's a wasted action.
That'll be 2 years this turn.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. So, first, I permanently gain an extra action to my pool,
Nice.
which should help me on the next turn. And then I will gain the +2 token for bidding, which I've already got on my sheet here.
Awesome.
And then I will get to add capacity tokens.
Okay, so these are they're interlopers. So interlopers, they also appear on these cards as well, which we'll get to when that phase arrives. But the interloper tokens are tokens that fill up the capacity of the room, or sorry, I should say decrease the capacity of the room, so that we can't get in there.
Because they are just people hanging out, causing problems.
These do not increase the capacity. They're just shut down. That's a big difference, because if they increase capacity and he were to put an interloper here, that means no one can enter this room or this room. So it's actually quite damaging.
So, I'm going to put something on the crew quarters.
Oh no, so the crew quarters capacity has been reduced.
So only one person can place there now. And I will follow it up with the transporter room.
Ooh. Cool. So no one wants to go to the transporter room this turn. All right, now you can collect.
Yeah, I'm. The first thing I'm going to do is not steal a resource because you prevented that from happening. But I do get to collect both of my warp crystals.
So take 2 little warp crystal thingies. Now you use these to build up certain commendations, and warp crystals helps you build your engineering rank. In fact, isn't it 2 warp crystals to buy a commendation in engineering?
It would be if I was going to spend them this turn.
All right.
What goes around comes around.
The last action to be claimed is the swap rank. Even if I'd gone first in the turn, this wouldn't have been collected until the end of the collect resources phase.
Yeah, that way it doesn't confuse people. Are you taking rank 1 or 2?
I'm taking rank 1.
Of course he is. So now I'm rank 3.
You started this.
When he takes the rank,
You've been
that rank
busted
locks
down to
down
ensign,
because
son.
there's another space. Because there's another space on the board that another person can take rank afterward. But like I said, if he takes the rank, whatever rank you take gets locked down and cannot be taken again that turn, unless you spend one of those problem cards.
Yeah.
Because if you have a problem card during the spend resource phase, which is coming up, you can actually discard the problem card, forsaking the point to be able to switch your rank, and it's a great tactic to like sneak on people when they're not expecting it.
Yeah, I
It's
was
a
little
good
bit
thing
scared.
you can't win the next problem round.
No, he can.
Again, I'm not less anymore.
I'm Les now.
No.
You might have done goofed.
So now
I didn't account for that.
So after you collect all your resources and stuff, you go into your second problem solution phase, and this time, I get to play.
Yeah, so let's see what happens, because you've made first contact. Oh,
So I'll take these two. I'll take one off the top.
I'll make sure I can't see whose cards are whose.
yeah.
One up. All right, there you go. Give a read.
All right, so you've made first contact. Fire all weapons. Grin and bear it, or throw down. I'm going to go with fire all weapons.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you
So
go.
I won that one.
As soon as I heard fire all weapons, I knew I was.
First contact, fire all weapons. So,
It's the safest option. I've seen Alien.
so I get this point. All right, so I've got the point now. And now we get to spend our resources. Yeah,
bidding.
you're first.
Yeah.
Oh, it's bidding, that's right.
So a piece of equipment's drawn off the top of the deck,
Actually, that doesn't come off the board yet.
and
Lab coat. You may access the robotics lab without the prerequisite commendations on the engineering career path.
Interesting about prerequisites. You want to talk a bit about those?
Sure. So I mentioned earlier on that the career paths unlock various areas of the ship. One of those is the robotics lab. It's over in.
it's right here.
Is it now?
Yep.
One of them is the robotics lab. In order to use that normally, you'd have to have unlocked the second level of engineering on your career path by spending resources and placing commendations. But if someone was to win this card in the bid, they could access that room without having done any of that.
Which is what's happening.
Yeah.
Now, on the board here, you've got blue circles, yellow circles, and red circles. According to your career paths, the first level does nothing but get you points. Your second level gets you points and allows you access to the yellow circles according to the different paths. So there's a command, a science, a tactical, and an engineering. And if you manage to buy your third level commendation on your career path, then you actually can access the red ones. And they all have kind of cool powers that when the higher up you go, the more crazy it can
Some
get.
of the red ones are very dangerous.
Very dangerous.
So I'm definitely spending my +2 token on bidding for that. The +2 token counts as just 2 generic resources
right.
during bidding.
In the bidding, these resources don't mean anything different when you're bidding. They're 1 for 1. So in order for anyone to beat that +2 token, they have to put 3 resources in. I don't have any.
And
He's only got 2.
I've only got 2, so
it's
Cameron's going to get
so
the
it was,
card.
it was a good investment on his part.
So I got a shiny new lab coat.
There you go, Stacy with a lab coat. Okay, so now that we've done that bidding phase, we now get to spend our resources in the new rank order that we have. So you get to spend first.
Well, I'd rather not.
No, you're gonna forsake your spending round.
Well, it's not the scoring round until next phase anyways, so I don't really feel the need to spend my resources now.
All right.
Plus, if I do it this way, it deprives Thomas of the opportunity to
I'll
take...
remember that. I'm like an elephant.
And someone seems to have shut down the theft thing, so your resources are pretty safe, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stinks.
Who could have done that?
So I am going to take my token back because there's no point in being on claim one resource has it spent because he has no resources, and I have no resources. So maybe it's time to allow me to spend my point card and
you
take
almost
back
forgot
my
about
rank.
it.
I almost did, eh?
Yeah.
So I'm taking back my rank. So next turn when the score round comes, I don't have that point. I don't have a point to add to my score. However, I now have first place again on the map, which I really want. Knowing that the steel resource is gone and that there's a capacity extra in this room, I now am going to start by blowing my community actions, but it's not that part of the game yet. Okay, so knowing that that's happening, I think I did a good deed by taking the rank back to be able to place first. So now we've spent our actions, and the next phase of the game, which is the end phase, we get to do this thing called the Deep 5h.1t. On this
Yes.
ship, you're playing a bunch of interesting crew members who are kind of like, we're not the most
Misfits.
popular, misfits, they're fun, derelict. And we're on a really crappy ship that used to be like the coolest ship in the galaxy, and now it's just kind of like the 1943 Ford Escort.
It's like borrowing your grandma's car.
Yeah, 1983 Ford Escort. And so, which was my first car, by the way. It was brown, it was brutal. And so, things happen to you in space, and the Deep 5h1t cards represent that. So what you'll do is the person who's less,
Which is me.
is you, will take a dice and roll it, and we have our standard action die for our good web series friends. And here's how it goes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, he gets to choose. And these problems do things to the ship. 1, you can shut down a room. It says here shut down, so we'll put a shutdown token on the room and shut the room out entirely. That means nobody can get access to anything anywhere. And the other one is placing these interloper tokens, which help increase capacity. Since we've got 2 of the little circles shut down and 2 interlopers already, if we had something shut down an entire room, we're going to have a hard time getting what we want next turn on the ship, which is awesome. Because when the capacities fill up, I mean, there's 4, 8, 12, actually 5, 4, and 2 community actions. There might not be enough space on the ship to post everything or to place everything, which means we might have wasted actions. And that's awesome, because that's awesome for people who aren't the people wasting the actions.
Yeah, it's awesome for me with my 4 actions.
Damn it. But I have to place first.
Even though you're placing third. So
Right,
let's see what problem we have.
2. So
2.
1, 2. We're locking something
Place a
down.
lockdown token in the lounge.
All right, so we are going to place a lockdown token. There we go. So here's our lockdown token. This lockdown token is going to be D5H1T. What does it say?
It is a bar fight has broken out, and no one can access the lounge.
So the lounge is right here. So we put this token right here, and nobody can access anything in the lounge. Wow.
Perfect.
That's the bidding one, too.
Yeah, and then we'll draw this. So I'm glad I got to use that this turn. There's a lot of stuff shut down.
So the lounge is shut down. We are going to have a run. Okay, so it's the new turn now.
Which means everyone gets back up to 3 solution cards.
That's right. I'll pick up my next one.
I'll grab my 2.
Nice.
Oh, man, I really want to win the next one. Okay, and I'm rank 1 again.
Yeah.
So I get to place
Funny
first.
how
Funny
that worked.
Yeah, and so for this turn, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to claim a resource. No, I'm not going to do that. This turn, I'm going to build up in Warp.
All right. Then this turn, I'm going to build up in Warp.
What?
Well, while you guys are doing that, I'm going to build up Invertium,
You son of a gun.
just to be contrary.
You know what? I'm going to go Vertium too.
Okay.
I'm building a lot of resources
You know
this
what?
turn.
I'm going Viridium too.
Okay, so now that room is taken. Son of a guns. So you were second, you're third.
So why did you guys play Vertium?
I don't know.
Oh, I've got reasons.
Okay.
I got better reasons.
Oh,
Well, they stopped me from doing what I wanted to do. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab a data chip and hope that works out for me.
Very cool. All right, I'm going to place 2 tokens down on this. Roll a d6 to gain to gain 2 of the same resource, but it requires 2 actions to place down. So I'm actually going to place it there, and hopefully I'll get a good roll and get a good amount of resources.
all right. Then I'm going to place in the transporter bay,
Smart.
because now that room's at capacity with that interloper I placed.
That's right, and no one can access this little ship, which is full of resources. Smart move. Oh, you can get apples there. Darn it! I was going here for apples to get the random roll. I forgot all about the ship.
So I guess I'm up, aren't I?
You're up, sir.
All right, with that being the case, I'm going to go ahead and grab a second data chip.
And I'm going to grab a data chip as well.
There we go.
All right.
You're up, sir.
So I am going to grab a warp crystal in my shuttlecraft.
Ooh. Things are kind of slim, bud.
Yeah, I don't have as many options as I'd like anymore.
What will you do?
Well, this is my last action, and I don't know what I want to spend it on because the resources are looking pretty slim. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of that solution card Cameron collected.
Because it's a score round.
Yeah,
But I
don't
want
him to get
points.
the points for it.
All right.
Everything was on fire, and I assumed the fetal position. I deserved this card.
You know what? I am going to take the... Darn it!
Right?
You could get another warp crystal.
I could get another warp crystal. I got a warp crystal. I got a Vertium. I've got a data. I got an unknown. So maybe what I'll take is an antimatter.
I see.
That's
I see what you're
right.
playing
You know my
at.
plan. So what are you spending
I
your
do
last
know
action
your
on
plan.
in the ship?
Or the shuttle. I've got access to the shuttle.
That's right.
In that case, I'm going to grab an apple.
Ah, smart.
Yeah.
Son of a gun.
Because I'm hungry.
All right, so we've all placed
placed
out. We've all placed out. All right, so now we're going to go to the...
Problem and solution phase.
So
we
you,
go.
sir, are Les.
so Les goes...
And here's your problem card.
Awesome. And your problem is you are stuck in a time loop. You are stuck in a time loop. You are stuck in a time loop. You are stuck in a time loop.
We were like synchronized there.
Yeah, there is
We are
something.
in it to
There is
win it.
something that we neglected. Oh, this fell over. There's something that we neglected to mention in this phase, which is a key component to hedging your bets. But well, we don't actually have anything. If you had a resource, you can choose to bet the resources. I'm going to steal your warp crystals for a second. No, I'll take it from the pot. If I had a couple of warp crystals, and I wanted to. If I thought for sure I was going to win this round, I can actually bet. And so I could say, you know what? Up to 2 resources, I'm going to bet my 2 warp crystals. If I won the round, I get whatever I bet back plus what I bet. If I
It's double or nothing.
double or nothing, and if I lose, then I lose the resources. So because I have no resources, I'm not going to bet anything.
Which is too bad for you guys because you both seemed pretty confident about your solutions.
Do you have your random solution in there as well?
I do.
Yeah, it's in there.
Awesome.
So the problem is,
The problem is, you are stuck in a time loop. 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 And the solution.
wait, what's the problem?
You are stuck in a time loop.
Wait, what's the problem?
The problem is you are stuck in a time loop.
Wait, what's the problem?
Let's not waste our whole
And the
night.
solution.
What's the problem?
What
You're
are our
stuck in a time
solutions,
loop.
sir?
So the problem is you are stuck in a time loop. And the solutions we've got are form an angry mob, eat an apple like an asshole, or rewrite history.
What the hell?
Who played that?
Which one?
Rewrite history.
That was me.
Okay, you win the round.
Sweet.
That was the perfect card for that situation.
Damn it! It's a good thing you're removing one of his cards.
Oh,
Lucky son of a gun. Okay, so all right, so I just lost that particular round, but that's fine.
but it's collection. Now you get stuff.
No, we get stuff. Okay, so first collect. So I'm gonna take these 2 guys back, and I'm gonna roll a 6-sided die. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll see what resource I get. 5, 6. 1, 2, 3,
Oh,
4,
no.
5. Ah, 2 warp crystals for me.
Oh, that'll help.
That'll help me for sure. And then I'll collect the data chip and an antimatter. This is awesome.
You are just all over the map.
Buddy, I got resources coming out the yin
Got
yang.
another warp crystal.
I got a warp crystal. And by yin yang, but this capacity action goes back here, and I'll grab myself a Verdium Steel. Wow, look at that selection.
Yeah, this is looking like a good round for you.
Me booty has been collected. Arr.
That's actually pretty impressive looking.
Thanks, man. And then you're up, number 2,
I get to collect next. So I get a warp crystal.
and you'll get a Verdium.
Yep.
Oh, you'll get 2 warp crystals.
I'll get a Verdium. And then because I use the transporter bay, I will get another warp crystal and an apple.
Which you will eat
Nom 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 nom.
like an a-hole.
No, I rewrote history.
Yeah,
That's true.
That option didn't get chosen.
So you did beat the Kopamash Maru.
All right.
All right.
I guess I'm up. I'm going to go ahead and take a Verdium
Yeah, there you go.
and 2 data chips.
All right. Data chips, huh?
Yeah.
And is that it for you? No, you get
no.
to remove a solution card as well.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and make Cameron discard one of his problem cards.
Everything's on fire, or
Yeah,
I'm stuck in a time
it doesn't
loop?
really matter.
I'm stuck in a time loop. So with collection done, we're on to our second problem solution phase.
That's right. So collection is done. Second problem solution. So we don't fill up the cards. We
Here
just
you go,
move Les
Les.
over to the next player. And now I'm Les, so I don't get to participate. And the problem is, it's your birthday, which is a problem for a lot of people. So they're going to be the 2 cards. You'll
And
randomize
there's a
them. I don't want
random
to see
one.
which one's which.
I'm actually pretty confident, so I'm going to go ahead and bet my Verdium Steel.
Really?
I'm probably not going to win this because I'm Les, so I'm not betting anything.
I see and match your Viridium Steel bet.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
So who's going to lose
So
the
we-
Verdium Steel?
And now it's
One
going to be
of
the
us, I
random
bet.
card.
Actually, yeah, that's right. Okay, so the problem is, it's your birthday. Solution number 1, fire up the grill. Who doesn't like a good barbecue? Ignore it and hope it goes away. Right?
Yeah.
And the last one is, cry yourself to sleep. Ooh. You know what? I'm a fan of... See, I love birthdays, so I'm going to say fire up the grill because I like a good barbecue. So who's got fire up the grill?
It was the random one.
All right. So because I picked Fire Up the Grill, this gets discarded, and guess who loses a bunch of Verdium Steel?
Both of us.
Yeah.
See, I'm a positive person. I can't cry myself. I don't cry myself. I do cry myself to sleep on my birthday.
I just had, I just had the
sorry.
song stuck in my
I
head.
cry myself to sleep when all my friends go home, and I can't play Attack Wing anymore.
It's your birthday.
I'll cry if I want to.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we've played the second round of the problem solutions, and now we are into spending resources. Let's spend resources.
First, let's bid.
Bid. You're right. The bidding phase. So the first thing up for auction is equipment commendation. You may discard this card to place a free commendation of your choice on one of your career paths. See, there's no particular order in the bidding. You can just simply bid.
Yeah. So I've gone and bid 1 resource.
I will bid 2 warp crystals.
Ooh.
Bane will bid. It's the worst Bane impression ever.
What are you going to bid, Thomas?
I am going to bid.
3. No.
I will bid 3.
Oh.
Oh, interesting.
I'm gonna bid.
I'll let you take it.
Yeah, I'm gonna bid
I
those.
don't want it. I don't want it that badly.
Go for it.
All right, so I lost that, and I get to this. So what this piece of thing does is it gets me to place a commendation on one of my career paths at its lowest point. On one of my career paths, I read it wrong. I thought it was on the ship as well.
Well, that's still going to work out for you with the 2 warp crystals. You can get really good.
Yeah, you could get your second
Comment
tier
to that.
in engineering.
I'm not doing that.
Okay.
If you want.
They totally thwarted my plan. I'm stuck in a time loop. I'm stuck in a time loop. I'm stuck in a time loop. No. Okay, so now that we've bid for our situation here, it is now spending phase.
And
I
you're
get
up
to spend
first.
first. So I'm going to cash this sucker in and take a commendation and place it on command because I like command because I'm the captain, Captain Ace.
Yeah, go for
And then I'm going to spend my warp crystal and my data, and I'm going to put commendation and take ownership of the communications bay. And then, with my lowly little warp crystal left, I will do nothing but twiddle my thumbs and
Cool.
say, go ahead.
Excellent. I'm going to spend a warp crystal and an apple to buy up the engine room.
He's fighting me for territory. That's not good. We'll explain to you in the scoring phase how fighting for territories is how it works. And what are you going to do, sir?
Well, I don't like what's going on here, so I'm going to ignore the entire territory war you guys have got going on. But I've got 2 pairs of resources, so I'm going to spend my data chips to take my first rank in tactical, and I'm going to spend my warp crystals to take my first rank in engineering.
That's a good point, actually. Let's mention this. So you've got your 4 career paths, and of each of the career paths, they're all tied to a specific resource. Command to apples, tactical to data chips, engineering to warp crystals, and science to vertium steel. They have a cost list, so it's like 2 and 3, and then as you go up, you need to add vertium and booze. Because to get higher in command, you have to impress your COs
Yes,
with
yes.
bottles of booze, and then your resources get heavier and harder as you're going up in order to make it more difficult to get your final levels of commendation. So in this case, because you've got data chips and warp crystals, you can buy engineering and tactical.
Yep.
That's kind of a smart move.
Exactly what I'm going to do.
If he were to go across, and if you were to get your commendations all the way across the bottom, you get bonus points for going across on each one. And if you go all the way up, the bonus is that you get access to these special places on the ship. But because we're only playing this for 2 rounds, we're not going to see just how far we're going to get across. So you've placed those out. You're the 3rd rank. Spending has happened. Technically, this is the end phase of the game.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll take these interloper tokens off.
Yep. And
We'll
the
take
angry less
the
tokens.
angry less tokens off because the computer's now no longer angry. We'll take off the shutdown token. The ship is clear and free, but we're gonna roll a d6 because I'm less and see what the next. If we were to go into to round 3, which I kind of want to. 1.
Oh, nothing happens.
Yes.
So the next round would be really clear and free.
Yes, that's right. Nothing happens. Nothing happens at all. So, because nothing happens, the ship is nice and open for the next turn. Now, at the end of the phase, at the end of the turn, before we go into the 3rd round, we score. And here's how you score. You get points for each of your commendations in each of your careers. 1 point for level 1, 2 points for level 2, 3 points for level 3.
Yep.
If you get across the bottom, you get a bonus point per crossing that goes up. In this case, you start scoring in rank order. So because I've got 1 commendation in one of my careers, I get 1 point. And then over here on the ship, it's 1 point per territory that you own. And if you own the most territories, you get a bonus of 3 points for owning all of the territories. If you are second place in owning territories, you gain 2 points. And if you're in 3rd place, you get 1 point. So in this case, because we're tied for first, that bumps us down into 2nd. So we now get 2 points each. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4 points. So I have no problems cards, which also count for a point, which means I have 4 points.
Yeah. And I guess I'm scoring next. I also get my single point for that, 2 for tying for 2nd, and a 4th point here. So I'm also at 4 points.
Oh, gosh. This is
And-
actually very interesting.
That leaves me trailing behind with only 2 commendations in my career path, giving me 1 point each.
So he's in last place this turn at 2 points, and we're tied at 4. Now, to resolve a tie, you go to resources, an amount of resources.
Look at that.
Interesting. We both have a warp crystal. So in that case, you would go to whoever the higher rank. No, you would go to whoever's cooler. So I win. No, I'm kidding.
I don't know. Have you seen my artwork? I'm
Oh,
Stacy.
yeah, you're Stacy.
Chief of Security and Mystery.
You're pretty. But I'm the captain of the ship. But in this case, it was a genuine tie. So Stacy and Ace both get to share the ship. My wildest dreams have come true. So, and that there is 2 rounds of 5h.1t. Feel free to ask some questions in the comment section. Talk to us below here on the YouTube page. And if you like what you see so far, just note that these components and stuff, this is all prototype based. The entire game will be built to meet high quality standards. And I'm hoping you'll enjoy the way the game plays out.
Thanks a lot for watching.
Cheers.